Hi, my name is Doug Cower, and I'm from Cower Guitars in Sacramento, California. I'm the owner of Cower Guitars, and that's how you spell it. And the reason I started building guitars is so people would learn to spell my last name correctly. That's my way of forcing my name on the world, but mostly because I do have a genuine passion for building guitars. I grew up woodworking. My father was a cabinet builder, and I, in his words, child labor laws don't apply to family. So I've been doing that since I was knee-high, and I just started building guitars really as a hobby 15, 16 years ago, because after building all kinds of things in my life, cars and furniture and stuff, I always played guitar, but I always felt like guitars were something that came down off the mountaintop and no mortal being could make one. And then I realized that was wrong. I mean, some guy made a guitar, or some woman or whatever. Why can't I? And so I started doing that. I started collecting wood around the shop and made one, and then made the second one and made the third one. And then didn't know there was a boutique industry until I went to my first NAMM show just to walk it. And I had friends who told me that, you have to go meet Nick Huber or Juha Rekongas or all these people who are just industry mainstays. And some of them knew who I was already, which was shocking to me. And everybody was super encouraging. And that was over 10 years ago. And here I am since. So I owe a lot to the industry and friends, and the little bit of creativity that I've been able to milk out of that. So I've been designing. I'm a big advocate that if you're going to build guitars and you build original work, which seems ironic because I'm holding our least original model here. If you build originals, you have no competition in the business. It's if you like what I make and nobody else makes what I make, this is it. So that's kind of my approach to building guitars, and I just design things that I would want to play for myself. I think that's kind of the rule for everybody. I don't have a background in it, so it's not something that's always come naturally to me, especially since I grew up building cabinets in my family business. I kind of want to make everything at right angles. That's how my brain is wired. So curvy shapes are difficult. But Banshee, this model here, is actually something that dates back to before the business. Banshees were, when I was, before we even called it Banshee, this is one of the guitars I learned to build with. One of the very, very first scratch builds I ever made was this style guitar. And it's evolved considerably over the years. It's obviously got its own inspirations. But I wanted to combine kind of that classic look on this one, but with a lot of under the hood type improvements, scarf jointing the headstock, making the headstocks lighter pieces of wood, making the wings heavier pieces of wood, and increasing the strength through this joint, having options and finishes that you just can't get anywhere else, especially like the TV Jones. And it's kind of evolved into my design sense for everything we make. I'm maybe a slight commitment phobe, and so I like to keep our designs flexible and able to do lots of different things with, and that's kind of how this one evolved. So this is my Super Chief model. And I'm really proud of this because this is 100% my design. It's this series, Starliner Super Chief. This is one of those things that I kind of find for me that if I struggle with designing a new guitar for more than 30 minutes, it's never going to work. It just doesn't work. I found that all of my best work comes together in 10 minutes, which makes it sound like I'm probably overcharging. But this is one of those things where it's been in my head for a long time to make this big semi-hollow format because I love semi-hollows. I like how big they are. Frankly, kind of like hiding behind them. And so, that's a whole other story. I've had this idea for a long time, and I just dropped my kids off at school one morning, and I got to the shop before anybody else was there, and in 20 minutes I had it, and it's tremendous. It's a 15.5-inch wide semi-hollow. But because it's offset, the width is this way, so it doesn't feel like a 335 where it's bulky, but it's not minuscule like a 339, which is kind of too much the other way. And it has this evolving center block that has been evolved through the design over the years, where it's a block that comes down to where the tailpiece would be, but the block is actually hollowed out pretty much here to here, so it maximizes the interior volume, so I can get lots of aerospace inside the guitar, but it doesn't make it feedback prone like a full hollow body. It's somewhere right in the middle. It's almost like, the way I describe it, it's between a 335 and like Gretsch trestle bracing. So it's lively but not uncontrollable. I adore this model. I absolutely love it. And then we, there's little things too, like because we can't get these pots in through the sound ports, there's a control access cap under this pick guard. And then because I don't know why no one else does it this way, we wire the pickups on quick connectors so we can get all the electronics fishing in place and then plug the pickups in last and not have to try to fight all that. And that makes it nice too, because then if you bought, let's say, this super cheap, you go, man, I wish I had P90s. It's 5 minutes to change it out. It's not a big deal at all. And that's kind of that same flexibility thing, that anytime I can make something modular or flexible, especially if it's got a full pick guard like this, that's a big deal for me. I really like doing that. So I'm really proud of this model. This is like the fanciest trim level we could possibly make it, and seemed appropriate to bring to the show. The show's amazing. I told you guys a story, but the first year we came, this is our first year, none of our guitars made it out of customs. So just having our guitars this year is a big improvement. It's been great. I love coming to this one. And I really like this show because I feel like, I don't know if European builders are they're not more creative than Americans. That puts us down. But I feel like the market, or maybe the consumer, is more open to creativity. So you just get to see way more unique work here than I see anywhere else. And it's impossible for me to say to mention any companies and forget everybody else, and makes me feel bad. Everybody's amazing. I think for me, the one I was really excited to see, and it's gonna sound insane because it's so polar opposite of what I make, but is the Red Layer Guitar guys. His stuff is so outrageous. I just couldn't wait to see it this year. So it did not disappoint. But everybody's are amazing. Besides getting, I'm just kidding. Getting paid is not the most. It's nice, but for me, my favorite part of guitar building is problem solving. So how do I make this fixture, or how do I make the guitar a little better each time? That for me is the most rewarding part. I like the puzzle, I guess, of it. So that's the challenge. It's fun to accomplish that. No, okay, and the best way to liken this is every mechanic I've ever known, his personal car is a piece of shit. That's me in guitars right now. It's not necessarily the business. I have 2 young kids, and they just eat up all my spare time, and it's kind of one of those things like it's the exciting part is when we bring a new model. Like when I got the first super cheap up and running, I played that a lot, but I don't get to play nearly as much as I'd like to. Understandable. Yeah, the kids, man, they eat up all my time. You guys are doing great, man. I appreciate all the love you always throw us, so it means a lot.